Alright, so before we start focusing, we're going to take a look at the hardware we'll be using. So obviously you want to set your DSLR to video mode. So the first main piece of hardware you will be relying on when you're manual focusing will be the LCD screen. Now the LCD screen will be your main visual tool and your main visual guide for manual focusing. So most DSLRs have a high resolution screen. So when I say high resolution screen, I mean around 1 million dots on the screen or more. Now, I'm demonstrating with the EOS 70D here, which has 1.04 million dots. So let's say you're using an 1100D and the LCD screen on that only has around 200,000 dots. So it might be a little hard to nail sharpness because your LCD screen can't exactly show enough detail for you to make out if the focus is in or out. So apart from relying on the LCD screen on your DSLR, there are also external monitors that you can purchase separately. So those plug into your DSLR and you get a bigger screen to look at. So they're bigger and they're easier to see. So it'll be easier to judge your focus on a bigger screen. But for most of us, we will be relying on this LCD screen right here. So on certain models, the LCD screen is articulated. That means you can flip it out and you can tilt it around. So trust me, this actually helps a lot when it comes to focusing. It's a lot easier to see straight down onto the screen than to actually peek around onto a fixed screen. But still, many DSLRs such as the 5D Mark III don't have this feature. So many of us will have to live with that, but still the articulated screen is more of a luxury. So apart from the screen, it's onto the lens, the focusing ring of the lens itself. So the focusing ring will have great effect on what your focus is going to turn out. So the location and design of the focus ring varies across all lenses. So you generally want to go for a nice thick rubbery one, like the one here on the 24-105L lens. It's a very nice feeling one. It's fairly smooth because the smoothness of the ring will affect the smoothness of your focus pull. So generally, high quality lenses have a nice smooth focus ring. Like the Sigma 18-35, which I'm filming on right here right now, has a very smooth focus ring. So as you can see, when I focus it around, it's very nice and smooth. So it's the case with most of the lenses, most quality lenses. For example, the 24-105 has a nice thick rubbery ring, whereas this 10-22 here has a very slim ring. Now generally thicker rings are nicer to focus with, so a slim ring is not exactly optimum for manual focus, but still it works. Now, aside from the feel of the focus ring itself, the focusing ring turning distance is also a huge factor on manual focusing. So the further the focus ring travels from the closest focusing distance, that's one end, all the way to the other end, will affect how fine-tuned your focus is. So generally, the further it travels, the easier it is to fine-tune your focus. For example, the Canon EF50mm 1.4 lens here. So it's no surprise because it is a 1.4, so you get extremely shallow depth of field on this, so your focus has to be spot on. It has to be very, very accurate. So the ring, it turns about a whole 180 degrees from one end to the other. So that is the closest focusing distance to infinity. So it's a very long travel. It's 180 degrees travel. So that means you can fine-tune your focus very well. So one downside of this is that if the focus traveling distance is too far, it's very hard for long pulls, because generally you'll be pulling focus with your fingers and your fingers can't really travel 180 degrees around the whole lens. So it's pretty hard to do a full pull from one side to the other when you're shooting handheld. So for a standard zoom lens, a 90 degree turning distance is about the sweet spot. So for example, the 24 to 105 here, it turns around 90 degrees from one end to the other, slightly more, but then it works just fine. I think this is the optimum focusing distance for turning distance for handheld, but still it's a personal preference. It's really up to your own preferences. Still, I think 90 degrees is the easiest to work with. Now on some cameras, there's this feature called focus peaking. Now it's a great tool, but sadly is not present on all Canon DSLRs as far as I'm concerned. So on some other cameras, there is this tool, the focus peaking. So in case you're wondering, this is how it looks like. I've got it on right here. So let's see in action. So basically what it does is it highlights the edges of the subject in the image that is in sharp focus. Now for example, I'm now focusing on the two lenses in the background here. So as you can see, the edges of the lenses are highlighted in red, so that indicates that they are in sharp focus. Now if I focus on the lovely little cat on the foreground here, you can see that the edges of the cat are highlighted in red, so that indicates that that is in sharp focus. So you can see as I move the focus back and forth, you can see the sharp regions getting highlighted in red. So this is a wonderful to have, a wonderful tool to have, and it will be a huge help in manual focusing. Although sadly, most DSLRs do not have this feature. Now this is a very simple feature, very simple to implement. So if you have this feature, it will be a great help in your manual focusing.